On August 12th, we challenged 9 planners to tell us about current issues or projects in the Washington, D.C. region. To make it fun and fast-moving, we gave them just 7 minutes and 21 slides each to get their points across. Join us now for these presentations as they were enjoyed in NCPC's Commission Chambers that rainy evening. Next up, we have Nat Boddingheimer from WMATA, who you do get points for, I think, the best title. Hey, small fry, get out of my lane, or buses with attitude.
And even though I got busted for a jargon alert, I don't think there's any in small fry. I think that's universally understood.
Okay.
So for most people in the region, the conversation about transit system expansion is going to start with extensions of our lines. And if you're out to Centerville and Haymarket or BWI Airport, if you're really sophisticated, you might think about the core capacity of the system. But if you're really sophisticated, you think about Metro's bus network. And so my goal this evening, the first one, is to get you all into that hyper-sophisticated category. But more specifically, I'd like you all just to know that there's such a thing as a bus priority corridor network. I'd like you all to know why it's a good thing. And that while Metro can cheerlead for the development of this priority corridor network, that everyone in the room has a role to play. And that finally, I'd like you all leave pumped up to call your elected officials to demand change now. So why is it important? The first thing, very under-recognized fact in the region, is that while we have about 750,000 rail riders a day, we actually have almost as many bus riders, 700,000 a day. There's about 450,000 on our metro network and about another 250,000 on the local systems. So buses is a key part of the region's transit network. The other is that as our rail system gets more and more stressed and it's more crowded, we're looking to a time when the bus network is going to have to really be there to step in to have high capacity transit to either fill in for the long term or to fill in for a period while the region reinvests for another round of transit expansion. And the third is that it's strategic for us because it costs the public about $350 million a year to provide bus for a metro network, and we really want to reduce that cost burden to the local jurisdictions as well as to provide better service to our patrons. And we've estimated, well, I'll get into that fact next. So to focus attention on bus, one of the things we did was we created this priority corridor network to have a little bit more visual appeal, a little bit less like the vascular network of a brain that our bus network is on most maps, and to focus public's attention, to focus analysis, and to focus action. That network of 24 routes carries about half of Metro's passengers, about 70 million annual riders, 220,000 a day. And one of the estimates on why it's important to focus on bus is that we've estimated in a number of different studies that if we could increase the average bus operating speed from a very low 10 miles an hour to even 13 miles an hour, we could save about $40 million a year in the operating costs for the bus network. And that's crucial to associate bus with efficiency, crucial to provide the time benefits to passengers, and to build a motivation for this partner to the rail system. Another reason it's really important is that on some of the roads in the network, on this priority corridor network, bus carries a really disproportionate volume of passengers. 1% of the vehicles and 25% of passengers on Columbia Pike on 16th Street. It's 1.4% of vehicles and 30% of passengers. And so we're really trying to get people, here's a little jargon alert, we're trying to get people to, especially traffic engineers, to stop focusing on vehicle throughput as a way of thinking about how intersections are performing and how roads are performing, and to think about how many people per unit of time are getting through along a road or through an intersection. And we want highway departments to really focus on how they're helping maximize the number of people who can take advantage of this very fixed road asset. I wanted to let everyone know that this is not something innovative that we're really putting forward in the DC region. There are a number of other places around the country and indeed around the world that have implemented priority buses and bus rapid transit. Boston has a Silver Line, which is a bus rapid transit line. Cleveland has just opened one called the Health Line in cooperation with hospital networks in Cleveland. So these regions have found that it makes a lot of sense to invest in dedicating rights of way. Next slide. In all of the things that give buses priority. And one of the things this jumbled slide is intended to illustrate is how the many diverse things that go into a priority corridor. Part is the vehicles that we operate. Part is more efficient fare cards to speed the boarding of passengers and their alighting, getting clearer signage, getting information to passengers, getting enforcement of public safety so that people feel safe, and also so that cars that are parked in lanes for buses are moved out of the way. One of the worst things that we can have in this region is lanes that are striped for bus transit to promote the movement of buses, and not to have public safety enforce parking in those areas, because that just says, well, it's just a paint on the ground and it's not really important, and this is just sort of a notion. When we talk about what is a priority or dedicated right-of-way for buses, it can take a lot of different forms. It can be a dedicated lane. It can be a shoulder on a highway. It can be speeding up through an intersection, communication of the buses with traffic signals so that the bus can get through. So it can be a lot of different things, and one of the important things about our planning for this is to tailor the solutions to the place. This is all of the routes that are in our 6-year plan to improve bus transit. And each time we go out 3 or 4 times a year to work with communities, we identify all the different things that make up a bus priority network and try to get consensus on what those improvements would be and how to speed up transit. One of our recent successes was obtaining a $58 million federal grant to start working on traffic signal prioritization and intersections that give priority to buses. That's going on now. It'll take place over the next couple of years. We've worked with the Transportation Planning Board to demonstrate that if we had running ways that gave free movement to buses on our network in the region, that this priority network in the year 2030 could carry about 260,000 more riders per day than it does right now, and it could provide substantial relief to the rail network. We've also worked with legislators in the Maryland legislature to develop a policy that would require establishment of policies on how to give priority to buses in different roadways in different settings. And the practical challenges to confront, well, the very first one is to have everyone realize that it's important and that they can call their legislator. In 7 seconds, I can talk about what's important in the networking. So thanks very much.